Should the Sixers bring back Nerlens Noel to be Joel Embiid's backup center as we enter this playoff stretch run? That's what we're talking about on Philadelphia 76ers Now. Appreciate all of you for joining us, and stay tuned for the end of the show. I have some thoughts about that ugly loss to the Miami Heat because, man, our worst fears are coming to light. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to the channel. This is, according to YouTube Analytics, the fastest growing Sixers channel on YouTube. We give you coverage all throughout the year that's informative, entertaining, and consistent. So lock us in and subscribe. Let's get to 10,000 subscribers as soon as possible. So Nerlens Noel and the Detroit Pistons agreeing to a buyout. So Noel free to sign with any team across the NBA, but that signing has to happen today for him to be playoff eligible for a team that he does sign with, because that's the March 1 deadline. Nerlens Noel this year hasn't had a lot of playing time because Detroit has a couple of young bigs who are really, really talented and young that they're trying to develop. Jalen Duren, lottery pick. He's been playing really well. Then at the NBA trade deadline, they traded for James Wiseman. And because of that, Nerlens Noel's production has suffered. It's plummeted. So too has his minutes and the amount of playing time that he's received this year so far in 2022-23. Less than 3 points per game, 2.5 rebounds, 40% from the field. That ain't it, because Nerlens Noel was a guy who primarily plays around the basket. So when your field goal percentage is that low, that's not good. And he's gotten a lot of DNPs all throughout this year. Only 14 games tallied for Nerlens Noel, the former draft wonder kid by Sam Hinkie and the Philadelphia 76ers. His career stats, though, I think give you a glimpse into the type of player that Nerlens Noel is and the type of role that he could occupy on this Sixers roster. 7 points per game, 6 rebounds per game throughout his career, right? So 7 points per game, 6 rebounds, but also on top of that, his length is something that this basketball team misses since Matisse Thybulle was traded away to the Portland Trail Blazers. His wingspan, being able to deflect, alter passes, generate turnovers, and then the rim protection behind Joel Embiid and the athleticism. That's why I would love the fit of Noel going from really not getting any playoff time, or playing time, to at least getting some burn with this Sixers roster. Now, the starting five, I think that Doc Rivers should tinker with it. He should put Tyrese Maxey back in that starting five, DeAnthony Melton coming in off the bench. The Sixers bench production has been awful of late. Man, it's almost like they could really use Isaiah Joe, right? Or Charles Bassey. Those guys are gone. So now you have to fortify this bench unit, and I think Nerlens Noel would be able to do that, and he's a better backup option behind Joel Embiid than a guy like Dwayne Dedmon. And the center options, I mean, Montrezl Harrell isn't even playing anymore. Joel Embiid occupying a lot of those minutes at that 5 spot, but you need to conserve him a little bit heading into the playoffs so that he's feeling somewhat fresh. Paul Reed, in and out of the lineup. We know that Doc Rivers doesn't like to experiment with playing younger players, which drives me crazy. And Dwayne Dedmon. Speaking of Dwayne Dedmon, like Nerlens Noel is a better backup center for Embiid as compared to Dwayne Dedmon. And now, since the signing of Dedmon, we've seen Tony Bradley become available. We've seen Nerlens Noel become available. It's almost like Daryl Morey panicked and decided to pick up Dedmon, thinking that there weren't going to be better options available when you had time at your disposal. And if you ask me, I honestly think it's a little bit too late for the Sixers to sign Nerlens Noel. So, be the general manager. S for sign, P for pass. Should the Sixers bring back Nerlens Noel? Because I am tired of seeing the corpse of DeAndre Jordan and Greg Monroe getting playoff minutes behind JoJo. It's an absolute disgrace. Thoughts on that Heat loss? And by the way, Philadelphia going to go down to South Beach and play the Miami Heat again tonight as we record this on Wednesday. First, shout out to our sponsor today, BetUS, the best sportsbook in the game, offering the best deal that any sportsbook has to offer. 125% deposit bonus if you head to chatsports.com/bet, promo code chat125. Do you think Embiid is being disgraced and disrespected to win NBA MVP? I do. If you like the value for him to win that award, get those bets in. All right, some thoughts on that Heat loss from Monday night, which really macro concerns for me for the Sixers team with the playoffs approaching as we have about a quarter of the season left here in the regular season. Our worst fears are coming true. I think that the Sixers once again are bound for a second round exit. We have seen this nightmare before, going all the way back to 2001 and basically every season since then that the Sixers have actually been in the postseason. The end of the Heat game, it was so ugly. No field goals over the last 3 minutes as this offense just grew stagnant. They looked lost. And once again, they were trying to rely on Joel Embiid to put the biscuit in the basket and get a clutch bucket. He wasn't able to do that. He was halted by Bam Adebayo, blocked. Really good defense by Bam. He has the athleticism to really stop Joel Embiid and counter what he does well. James Harden had an opportunity to win the game with the three-pointer late. Good pass by Joel Embiid. I thought that Harden should have maybe bought some more time to sidestep to his right to create some more space. He had plenty of time. When the ball hit the back iron there, that's when the buzzer sounded. So he had about a second to maybe let that shot fly to give him a little bit more space to let it rip. I thought that the Sixers would start that game and throughout that game were really flat against a Miami Heat team that has statistically the worst and most least efficient offense in the entire National Basketball Association. How does that happen? You lose that game against the Boston Celtics. That was a gut-wrencher as Jason Tatum, taking Markelle Fultz over him, continues to be just yet another nightmare for this franchise. But how does that happen? You're entering a big road trip here, going up against some of the premier teams in the NBA, a team that you could face in the first round in the Miami Heat. And if they do, I think the Sixers could lose that first round series. How do you come out flat against a Miami Heat team that you know has your number, that you need to make a statement against? That's unacceptable. And Embiid and Harden, they have to be better. Embiid said as much after the game. In the guts of the game, coming down the stretch, we have to play better basketball. I have to be better. We have to be more proficient in trying to manufacture some points when the game slows down and we're in our half-court offense. Embiid said as much after the game. He has to be better here. I love Joel Embiid, but man, he's come up short in a lot of big games for this team throughout his tenure here. And let me round out with this. Why should I believe in the Philadelphia 76ers when they've continuously let us down? They've continuously let us down over and over again. Joel Embiid has struggled in a lot of big games in his playoff career. And Harden, while he's put up some monster stats in the regular season, one of the best offensive players that we've ever seen in the history of this game, his offensive arsenal completely unique, but he has shrunk in the playoffs time and time again. So there's a long history of the Sixers choking, Joel Embiid not playing well, and James Harden shrinking in big games. Why should I believe if what we're seeing here has been the same thing that we've been seeing over the last couple of years with this franchise, which has been absolutely crippling? Should I believe that they're actually going to punch through and make it to the Eastern Conference Finals? Prove me different. And for Tobias Harris to have 2 points in nearly 35 plus minutes against the Miami Heat, where were you? The positive spin out of this is that Tyrese Maxey balled. It had to take me calling him out to having to be better, and Doc Rivers can help him out by putting him back into that starting 5. I had said on Monday, the secret ingredient, the missing piece for the Sixers team is Tyrese Maxey. He has to play like he played to start the regular season, like he played in December. 23 points off the bench. I need more of it. The Heat muddied the game up at the end of it and throughout that game with their tenacious defense, and other teams are going to notice that. Other teams are going to take note. I thought the Boston Celtics did a little bit of that on Saturday night at the Wells Fargo Center, and the Sixers to end that game had a 15-point lead in the third quarter, and once again, they let that lead evaporate before their eyes. So, I'm concerned. I'm going 85-90 here on this scale to my right. Your level of concern with the Sixers. Scale it for me from 1 to 100. Let us know down in the comments section. Like this video if you love the Sixers, even though we've been heartbroken by this basketball team so many times. I have an unhealthy relationship with the Sixers, but at the end of the day, we love talking hoops. We love the Sixers, and that's why this channel is moving and shaking like we are.